Welcome to BDD Boxing During Dinner. I'm Armando Alvarez and he's David Barry. Enjoying some Italian food. What do you got there?
Why not? I couldn't tell you, but it's pasta and I love it.
It is pasta. So Boxing During Dinner is boxing during dinner. We're going to be talking boxing. We're going to be recapping last weekend's fights and looking forward to the following weekend's fights. All in a quick amount of time for
probably under 5 minutes. We'll have you out of here in no time, so don't worry about it.
So first, let's start with James Kirkland, who was considered one of the baddest men on the planet, like Mike Tyson.
27-0, 24 knockouts heading into Saturday.
And just like Mike Tyson has had run-ins with the law, but he runs into this guy Ishida with 6 knockouts, a former WBA champ. But let's be honest,
He's feather-fisted.
I was a former WBA champ. And this guy with 6 knockouts knocks out James Kirkland in 1 round.
Unbelievable. And you know what? Until I had heard about it and didn't have a chance to watch the fight live at the moment, then I watched it, and I couldn't believe just how quickly and easily he was blitzed through. Kirkland had no defense at all, and then as the bell was stopped, or as the fight was stopped after the 3rd knockdown, he pleaded and pleaded as if he were somehow defending himself, and he was absolutely not. He was just destroyed by Ishida.
And I read something today. Floyd Mayweather Sr., who was at ringside, said these fighters with no defense can go on and win championships and be successful fighters in boxing. And James Kirkland is that type of fighter.
Exactly.
Before he fought Joao Julio, I remember I showed Joao Julio Kirkland's fight against Alan Conyers, which was a war. Conyers is by no means a good fighter. I mean, he's okay, I guess, but by no means a good fighter. And he dropped Kirkland in the first round and almost had him out. So I told Joao Julio, this is a guy that could be hit, and Ishida proved that on Saturday.
I'm just chewing, but
that's why it's boxing during dinner.
Here's the thing.
The
peak of James Kirkland's career is going to be as an interim WBA champion, which is pretty much any fighter in boxing can have that right at some point in their careers. As far as where he goes from here, it'll be interesting. It's going to take a little bit of time to build up his confidence again after the kind of beating that he got. He can tell everybody that he wasn't hurt, but for anybody who watched that fight, the 3 knockdowns, it was clear that he took a lot of punishment, and some fighters don't bounce back from it.
And could you imagine if he would have fought Sergio Martinez? Because that's the fight that we're talking about.
Had he won this fight, I believe that's the fight that would have been next.
And it's not like Martinez has this huge knockout record, but as of late, Martinez has become as good a power puncher as anybody in boxing. So it would have just been a massacre.
It could have been. Who knows what happens to James Kirkland from here, but take a little bit of sip of water for our boy James. Hope you're getting some rest at home, buddy. Your delusion is not helping your cause. Hopefully you can come back strong now.
And then the Kirkland fight was a prelude to Erik Morales against Marcus Maidana.
Raise your hand if you thought...
David, I thought he was going to die.
Raise your hand if you thought Morales was going to win that fight. Raise your hand if you thought Morales was going to be in that fight beyond the 6th round.
If you're raising your hand watching this, you're definitely Mexican.
Those are the only ones. And those are the drunk Mexicans.
And Erik Morales and his dad and his brother, they thought he was going to win. But I seriously thought the guy was going to get badly hurt in this fight. To me, it wasn't a matter of was Maidana going to win and was he going to win by knockout. It was how badly was he going to beat up Erik Morales. And for the first 4 rounds, it looked like he was going to do that.
Yeah, and with the eye completely swollen shut from an uppercut that was thrown in the first round, and just for you to fight through that, given the odds, is difficult for any fighter, even on a world-class level. But a washed up, so we believe, Erik Morales still managed to fight through and then turn the tide around the 6th round. And really started to deliver with some straight right hands that Maidana just could not get out of the way of.
And I love Erik Morales. I think he's been a warrior his whole career.
His pasta's great, by the way.
I didn't make it, so I can't take any credit for it. But Erik Morales, although I respect him and he's a warrior, I think that this fight just proves that Maidana isn't that good because he gets hit way too much. Any fight, I think even Amir Khan would have picked Morales apart. Juan Manuel Marquez, who's he's probably older than Morales, would have picked him apart. I just think Marcus Maidana, who 2 fights ago actually went 12 rounds with DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley, who's 9,000 years old and has 30 losses in a row. So I just think it just proves Maidana isn't as good a fighter as we probably thought. But Morales, you know, I guess to his credit, he could still make a couple of big paydays and hopefully keep his wits about him because he could end up badly injured.
And that's another thing too. But I think he's bought himself a couple more big fight paychecks, and for a 34-year-old guy who's not technically, you know, on the oldest side of boxing, but at 34 who's been through a lot of wars, But it'll be interesting to see what comes up next. I think Golden Boy needs to match him carefully with whoever they put him in with because he can seriously get hurt. But it's interesting, to see again with the comment about Maidana, and that I think is going to segue into our next segment that we're talking about fights coming up, is what does that say about Amir Khan, who fought tooth and nail, and maybe if the fight gone on another round, could have lost to Maidana just a few months ago.
And what does that say about Victor Ortiz, who's fighting Andre Berto on the same night? And those are two pretty interesting fights. What do you think about Berto and Victor Ortiz, not Amir Khan?
I'll be honest, I'm a big Victor Ortiz fan, and I think I was as crushed as anybody to see him quit in the eyes of many when he fought Maidana in 2008. It'll be interesting to see how the first couple of rounds go, because Victor Ortiz is the junior welterweight moving to full welterweight, but he is the bigger fighter. He has a lot of power, a lot of speed, and early on in the fight, I think it could be a shootout. But Victor Ortiz does not have the discipline, I believe, that Andre Berto has, and he does have the power, he does have the speed, but the mental makeup is still a big question as well. And you could see kind of examples of that in his most recent fight with Lamont Peterson, where he had an opportunity to really take the fight down the stretch from Peterson, and he didn't. So it'll be interesting to see for the first few rounds, if Ortiz can make Berto taste his power early on, it'll be interesting to see what happens from there.
I think Berto's gonna pick him apart. I'm not even expecting that good a fight. Well, I mean, I'm interested in watching the fight, but more to see how Berto has developed as a fighter. I think Berto gets better with every fight, and I think he's ready to be part of the elite at welterweight. And I'd like to see him personally. If Floyd Mayweather's going to take a fight with Pacquiao, fight Floyd Mayweather, because he's out there. Pacquiao's probably not going to fight him. There's no money in that fight. I guess for him to have a big fight, he's either going to have to fight Tim Bradley, which, I mean, for us it's a big fight. I don't know for the Fairweather fans. If you're watching us
boxing during dinner, you got to be a boxing fan.
You enjoy that fight, but Bradley Berto's good. Mayweather Berto's good, but I don't want to see Berto against.
Mayweather's running from Pacquiao. He's running from the IRS. He's running from everybody. As much as I want to see Mayweather get in because I believe he is the premier talent in boxing, he's not fighting. And unfortunately, I don't think he wants to taste the power of someone like Berto either. And
I said I don't want to see Berto against a guy like Paul McCloskey, who's fighting Amir Khan. And you know what? I haven't seen enough of Paul McCloskey to talk crap about him. But
if you're from Britain, we're sorry about that. We don't have Sky Network over here.
Amir Khan's a good fighter. I think he should win this fight. I think it's setting up bigger fights for him, against Bradleys and the Alexanders and Maidanas of the world. Rematch Juan Manuel Marquez, guys like that. So I don't think that fight is even worth discussing. But the other fight, Juan Manuel Lopez against Salido, I don't know how big a test Salido will be for Lopez, but it definitely sets up a good fight if Lopez can win.
Exactly, and I think it's always interesting, and this is why everyone likes these featherweights. Is Gamboa and Juanma can be so entertaining, but they're so vulnerable, and I think that's what makes them exciting. Is they can get hit on the chin and dropped at any given moment. And with Salido, who does have some pop, but I don't know is really going to test Juanma's chin. And I think it would be interesting to kind of measure how Juanma does against Salido the way that Gamboa did against Salido, and kind of use that as a measuring stick. But the fight everybody wants to see in that division is Gamboa versus Juanma. And I had the chance to see the Gamboa blitzing firsthand.
This guy took the Cuban flag to
I took the Cuban flag, drank a lot of Captain Morgan, and waved my Cuban flag in the air, but it was unbelievable to watch a serious champion get blitzed through, knocked down 5 times in 4 rounds.
How many Cubans did you know in Rochester growing up?
2. and they were both there with me. Those are the only 2. I'm from Rochester, New York, a miserable place.
And I'm from Miami, so I'm definitely Cuban. But
and I'm definitely white.
the Gamboa Lopez fight should be interesting because of what you said. These 2 guys get hit. I've seen Gamboa throw a punch and almost fall through the ropes.
Yeah.
That's how vulnerable he could be. Stays wide open, and Lopez almost got knocked out by Rogers Matagua. So
and Concepcion.
And Concepcion. So that should be an amazing fight. But I guess Top Rank is trying to build them until they're both megastars. But you know what? I think that fight needs to happen sooner than later.
If early 2012 isn't it, then I think they both should try to find different weight classes. I mean, Gamboa himself has said that if the Juanma fight doesn't happen, 126 is short stay for him, and he wants to move to 130. And who knows? I mean, maybe he can taste a Jason Litz out there or something, and see how his weight and his power carries up into the higher divisions.
What happens first, Gamboa, Lopez, or Mayweather, Pacquiao?
Yeah, Gamboa, Lopez. Call me a non-believer, but Mayweather, he's too busy posting pictures on Facebook and Twitter of all of his gambling winnings.
And and he brags about all the ones he wins, but
you don't hear anything about the ones he
loses. You know.
I doubt Floyd is watching boxing during dinner right now. Call me a skeptic, but Floyd, I'm gonna just say what everyone else has been saying. Just fight Pacquiao. Yeah, I think you can beat him. Are you listening to me, Floyd? You can beat Pacquiao.
I agree with David. I think he could beat Pacquiao, but you know, I guess this will be it for boxing during dinner for this time. But there'll be many other times. I promise you that next time I'll have more food here.
He just had chips. And if you guys are fans of boxing during dinner, send us an email. I don't know if we have an email address. We could.
We could set up an email for
next time. We're going to set up an email.
Write comments.
But when you see this on YouTube
video,
comment on YouTube. Tell us that you like boxing during dinner, and tell us what you want to hear next week. And it'll be interesting to see when we recap a week from now what the turnouts of the Ortiz.
And we will do it next week.
Yeah, we will.
We will.
We'll be back.
More food.
Hey, it's a good excuse to eat, and I don't ever have a problem with eating.
All right, so see you next week on Boxing During Dinner.
It's been real.